All right, time to kick off our live stream here today. Our friends of the Allen Americans going to have a little chat with us, and we're going to bring Tommy up in just a second. I'm Big Dave from Mad Rock 102.5. We got Alan Fremont from KLAK and Zac Grantham at Katy Country, all socially distanced. I think Zac and we're across the hallway from each other in our different studios, and Alan, you're down in McKinney, so we're plenty socially distanced, I think.
That's yep.
Yeah.
Is that 6 feet?
Yeah, I'd hope so.
I think I'm is a couple of counties safe enough, I think?
Yeah. So we go from Sherman, where Zac and I are, to McKinney, where Allen is, and now we go just a tad bit further south there on 75 to Allen and the Allen Event Center there. And so we bring up Tommy Daniels. Now, I got to say, so you're like, I always say the voice of the Allen Americans, but like you have an official like you're vice president of something now, right?
Oh, you know what? That just makes your resume look better, boys. You know how we work in the radio world, and like you guys, I was in radio for 25 years in Dallas, so I know that world too. And God, I've known Dave, you and Alan now I think for 10, 11 years. I've never had the pleasure of meeting Zac. I know I've seen you before, but hey, you guys are always welcome to come out to a game. Would love to see you.
So let's talk about the Americans. You guys, we were just talking before we started our live stream here that you guys had a 10-game away from home, and you got 8 of those. You won 8 of those games?
We did, Dave. As a matter of fact, we have not played a home game since New Year's Eve.
Wow.
Wow. That's a long time to be on the road, boys. Believe you me.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, is Coach Martinson said, hey, you're going to have to play him eventually, so might as well get him out of the way right now. And you know what? When you win those games like that, it makes those road trips. Although we flew, we've spent a lot of time on the bus over the years, as you guys know. But we flew back and forth from here to Salt Lake City, so pleasant trip. Didn't mind being on that airplane at all, and it's easier to come back when you have 2 out of 3 games that you win.
Tommy, do you find there's a different vibe with the players and the coaches right now because of the pandemic, or is it once the puck drops, it's just kind of game on and there we go?
Well, game on, definitely, Zac. I mean, the guys are still doing their thing out there on the ice. We had 2 really good fights this weekend in Utah on Friday and Saturday. Dyson Stevenson, who was here a time before and is back this year, he just took a guy apart. As a matter of fact, the guy's last name is Hoover, and I can't take credit for this. One of our fans said, man, he just took that vacuum cleaner apart. And sure enough, it was unbelievable. And as you guys know, that's hockey, right? I mean, fans, they come because they want to see the rough stuff. They're not coming to see ballet. They're not coming to see, figure skating. They want to see the guys knocking each other, through the boards. And, we've got a team this year that Martinson's put together. We're big, we're strong, we're fast, and we're tough. And that was the only criticism of last year's team, which was really good. We wound up with the second best record in the league and best in the West. But he said we were a little too soft. And he wanted a tougher team, a team more along the lines of the way he played the game. And if you're ever bored on a Sunday afternoon after football season is over and you want to entertain yourself for a couple hours, just put YouTube or go into YouTube and put the name Steve Martinson in, and you'll see all of his wonderful fights. I guarantee you'll be entertained for hours. But that's our team this year. We're good. We've got a lot of offensive minded players and some guys from the American Hockey League that have come down to play with us to start the year anyway, with them getting started late. But I'm expecting nothing less than a really deep run in the playoffs this year.
Very nice. Hey, Tommy. So it looks like the radio and you guys got something in common. We have fights too, like twice a week. It's really nice.
Oh, I remember. Trust me, it wasn't that long. I definitely remember knockdown dragouts with the program director.
So, Tommy, I mean that's pretty sweet, man. Getting these wins on the road, which is always the hard thing to do. You want those road wins.
Yeah, it's a lot, Alan, about building the chemistry in the room, right? I mean, you got to get guys that can work together. You don't have to go out to dinner every single night, but you got to have guys who respect each other, guys who are, willing to go to bat for each other. And you see that a lot of times. You put together a superstar team, it doesn't work. You have to have some of those glue guys like this, the leadership guys like Dyson. The other night, somebody hit our goaltender. He didn't take him 10 seconds. He took the gloves off and started going to town, man. That's what it's all about. And, we have a really good room. And I'll be honest, this year has been very tough because I'm not in that bubble. And so I can't just freely go down in the room and interview a guy. Everything is done via Zoom or whatever, Google Meets or however you want to do it. But you can't do like the old days where it was very easy to pull a player aside for 5 minutes and say, hey, can we talk about this real quick? I'm having to set up meetings, and it's be honest, it's tough to get to know the players. Every year, I mean, by the first month of the season, I know these guys very well. There are still a lot of guys that I've never been face-to-face with simply because of this whole pandemic. And that makes my job extra tough, being the broadcaster media guy. You've got to put out your stats. You've got to do shows like this. So you do a lot of those Zoom interviews and text messages with the players, just trying to find out information, because you can't be in the locker room to talk to these guys one-on-one.
I want to talk about the atmosphere of the Allen Event Center because probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I went to my first game and I was just blown away. Like, it was just so much fun, family atmosphere. Like you said, the fights were great. And why do you think it's so different from an Allen Americans hockey game to another hockey game that you would go to?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Zach, the reason why, first of all, these fans get to know the players, and maybe not as much this year, but these guys, if you go to a Dallas Mavericks game, a Dallas Stars game, the players aren't walking out of the concourse afterwards to greet fans. When you come here, players, Ice Angels, broadcasters, our staff, they're down there afterwards and they get to know these players very, very well. A lot of the families in the past have almost adopted these guys when we're home during Christmas, and a lot of these guys can't go back to Canada because we're off from the 23rd to the 26th. They need a place to go for Christmas dinner, right? We have a lot of these fans that will take these players in and invite them into their house for dinner, and we've had families in the past that have helped to support some of these guys. So it's really neat in that way, and that's something that the Dallas Cowboys, the Stars, the Mavericks, they can't do. They just, it's just the way pro sports works. We're minor pro, but I think we put together a really good product. We are affiliated with the Minnesota Wild, so we have a lot of guys, on this roster that are Wild prospects. We'll have a goalie here coming very soon that'll be, a drafted player by Minnesota, and hopefully, like we've had Alan, you'll remember this for sure, Dave, I'm sure as well. Aaron Dell, who plays in the National Hockey League right now, won a championship, here in Allen. We had him in the KLAK studios several times. So it's kind of neat to watch these guys grow up right in front of your eyes. And I remember having a conversation with Aaron Dell. I said, Aaron, I love you, buddy, but you got to develop some sort of a media, style. You got to be able to step in front of a camera and address, questions from reporters. Because I said it could come someday. Never dreaming it would come as fast as it did for him. And I'm very proud of him. Not that I'm taking credit for that, but, I think my conversation that I had with him one time, because he was very stiff, you would ask him a question, he'd give you a 2-word answer. And I'm like, that's not going to cut it. You need to kind of open up. You're the goalie. People are going to want to talk to you. And I remember the first time I saw him on NBCSN Bay Area, he was doing an interview after a shutout for the Sharks. And he was talking, I thought, man, that's not the same Aaron Dell that was here. So he learned, whether or not, anything I said to him helped, I don't know. But it makes you proud to watch these guys that, showed up here to work for $675 a week. And now they're in the NHL making $2.2 million. It's kind of neat to watch where they go and where you are now. So I'm still here doing the same thing for $75 a week. So,
but you know what, Tommy, you're talking about the Allen Event Center, or Zach was. That's a great place to watch a game. There's not a bad seat in the house. The parking is free. You don't have to walk 5 miles to the arena.
Right. Here's the best part about that, Alan, is a lot of people tell me, hey, I pull out of my driveway at 6:52 because I know I'll be in my seat by 7:03. And you can't do that going to the American Airlines Center downtown. It just doesn't work that way.
No.
So let's talk about some of the home games. I mean, one of the biggest reasons we wanted John here is to invite our listeners, to be a part of these games. And we were talking before we came on here about, some of the COVID, the precautions and things you guys are taking.
Yep.
I mean, you have limitations on what's in the Allen Event Center. So let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about the specific dates of the games.
Yeah, obviously, like everyone else, we're doing the social distancing. I was laughing at you guys beforehand. talking about studio to studio where you're 6 feet apart. Well, yes, we make sure that when fans come in, they have the mask on. You're not coming in without a mask. Obviously we have the hand sanitizing stations all over the building. If you go in the arena, you'll see where the seats are marked off. That way, there's plenty of distance in between. And even though, on a good night, on a Saturday night, in especially in February, March, and April, you're going to have 5,000 people in here. We're still, right now the state says we can have 50% in, but with, social distancing, it turns out to be about 40%. So 2,150 is what we max out at, and that's still plenty of room for everybody to be in here comfortable and enjoy the game. And I'll tell you what, it's amazing. I was very worried at the beginning of the year what this was going to be like. Nobody knew, right? You see people in the grocery store that and they avoid you, turning down a different aisle because they don't want to walk down the same aisle with somebody. Obviously that's what is going on in our country, right? I mean, social media scared the hell out of people, but I can tell you, if you're coming to a game here, you're going to feel safe. People are wearing masks. If you're going to the concession stand, people are distancing there. If you're going to get on the elevator to go up to the suite level, they're allowing only 4 people in the elevator at a time. So you're going to feel comfortable here. I do. And I'm one of those guys. When I go out, I wear my mask. I think I was telling you guys before we started doing the show that, I just flew back from Utah. I had my mask on the entire time. I didn't feel uncomfortable, even though I was sitting next to 2 people. It's just, I'm going to live my life, but I'm going to do it safely, right? I'm going to follow the rules at the Allen Event Center, the state of Texas, that they dictate to myself, our staff, people that come into the games. And I can promise you, if you come in, and I've talked to many fans, social distancing, by the way, and with a mask, and they say they feel fine. They feel comfortable. They're glad to be here. And as I think, Alan, you said earlier, it's going to come to a point that people just want to do something. They're tired of sitting in their house and just not mingling and meeting people. And I think there's a way to be safe and still yet have fun. And I think that's what we're trying to get across to people here.
I highly recommend the suite experience if they can do that for one of the
yes.
The most incredible thing, had the opportunity to do that with the radio stations. And
Dave, I think I remember one time you came up to my perch up top, and I don't think you were exactly excited about being up there on the roof.
Yeah, big fat guy and gravity. We don't get along very well. And your little your cove up there was like way overweight. Yeah. But I managed to do it. I made the appearance, and then I cried all the way back to my seat. Yeah.
People didn't believe that I was really up on the roof, and you had to, in order to get to my broadcast booth, you had to climb the stairs, go out on the roof. And I remember there was a time when I went into the broadcast booth, called the game, and when I came out, there was about 7 inches of snow on the roof, and I had to trot on through the snow with all my broadcast stuff. And yeah, it's an interesting experience. But the good news is, Dave, if you come see me now, I'm not up on the roof anymore. I'm actually in a suite. So you go up to that second level, and that's as far as you can go.
As far as you have to go. That's awesome.
You're welcome in the booth anytime.
Well, I got to say congratulations on y'all's new website, too. It looks amazing. It was on there as we were getting ready to talk today. But people can visit that if they want to. I'll bring this up if you want ticket info. Also, home game schedule there at AllenAmericans.com. Check that out whenever you can. So let's talk about individual games here, Tommy. So went on your website, stole a bunch of logos and different images and stuff. So that's how I roll, right? To prepare for this. So for the first game that we're talking about is the one that, of course, is tomorrow. February 3rd, 7:05 p.m. Against and I used the same small logo that you guys did for the Wichita Thunder up there. So you just barely see them up in the corner, but that's your game tomorrow night, 7:05 p.m.
You hate the Thunder.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Anybody who's ever been to an American Thunder game, it's the best one to come to. And we play them twice this week. There is a rivalry. We beat them. They were actually about 12 minutes away from winning a championship in our building. Yeah. Back in 2013, we were down 2-0 going to the third period. And, we scored 2 goals to tie it, one in the final 2.5 minutes. I'll never forget that night. Jarrett Lucan, you guys, some of you might remember that name. He was our captain, early on. He scores with, midway through the third period. Then Trevor Hendricks, one of our great defensemen, early names. He ties it up with 2.5 minutes to go. And then Todd Robinson, who was in town for a cup of coffee, not very long. He joined us at the end of the year. He scored the game winner 2.5 minutes overtime and totally broke the hearts of the Wichita Thunder. Coincidentally, you guys might remember this. At the time, Wichita owned both Allen, Tulsa, and Wichita. So they owned all three teams, and the owners were not happy. And the owner even admitted, he was our owner, and he said, well, I was pissed. I wanted Wichita to win. I'm like, well, you own us too. It was a no-lose situation for you. But, it's always fun to answer your question, Dave, in a roundabout way. Yes, anytime they come to town, Wichita, circle the calendars. And Dyson Stevenson, who is playing for us right now, he was with Wichita, their captain, for a couple of years. He's been circling this date on the calendar for a long time. Yeah. He wants to play against them in the worst way. So I can promise you, if you come to a game, either Wednesday or Friday, you will see some activity on the ice, and it'll probably be involving Dyson Stevenson because he hates the Wichita Thunder, and don't we all?
Nice.
Now, again, you want tickets to that game, you can go to AllenAmericans.com right there, nice and simple, and you can see all the schedule, because not only do they have the game there February 3rd, which is tomorrow at 7:05 p.m., but you also have one on the 5th as well, so Friday night, 7:05 p.m., again, against, as you mentioned, the Wichita Thunder.
Yeah, and the great thing about it, you see what the NHL is doing this year. They're starting to play these little mini series, kind of like what we're doing. And I've never understood why teams don't do that anyway. Think about all the money you're going to save in travel costs just by not flying to one city for one game. Get it out of the way, and you build that little rivalry. It's almost like a little mini playoff series every time you face them. And we play them 3 times in 5 nights. So you can just imagine by the time we get to Wichita on Saturday night, where they hate us, and I capitalize HATE. They've got some nicknames for our fans or for our players. I don't think I've ever heard those names on the worst playground that I played basketball on when I was a kid. Man, they do not like us at all in Wichita. So mark my word, if you come to the games this weekend, you're going to be entertained. It's always a fun series, and not to mention.
Oh, your audio cut out there.
Well, we lost Tommy's audio.
Lost your audio there for a second.
It was somebody from Wichita.
Yeah.
That hates us.
And cut his mic cord.
You know what? Am I back? Okay.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. See, all I have to do is mention Wichita, and everything starts going haywire here.
You were kicking your desk, weren't you, Tommy?
You know what? I don't know what happened, boys, but glad to be back. And again, we thank you, because you know what? All of you have supported us over the years. We were on Mad Rock, Katy Country, KLAK, with I think did you not have, was it Craig Ludwig that you talked to every week, Dave, or was it Matt Fachuk?
I think it was kind of a little bit of both. Just kind
a bit of both.
Schedules, yeah.
And Steve Martinson obviously was on, KLAK every week, and Katy Country. One of you guys had Matt Fachuk, the other Ludwig, but that was a big deal set up, by your great trio of radio stations there, and we can't thank you enough for what you've done throughout the years. You know what? You guys have done such a great job of just taking care of the folks here in Collin County. You guys are, what I look at is, you guys are a big market, a small market radio station in a big market. And you guys do such a great job of staying in touch with what's going on in the community. And I think that's the big thing. You go to Dallas and everything gets lost in the shuffle. I love more than tuning into KLAK and hearing about what's going on in McKinney and Allen in those neighborhood communities, because yes, we're in DFW, but we're far up here north. You guys especially far north up there in the Grayson County. So you guys do a great job, and we appreciate all you do.
Absolutely. And we want to talk about a couple more games. I know you got some more home games. We want to get people out there and actually involved in it. So we've got, from what I could tell on your calendar there, you got the Grizzlies on February the 9th. That's a 7:05 p.m. game as well.
Indeed. Utah, of course, we just took 2 out of 3 from them over the weekend, and we had some dandy fights with them as well. This will be their first trip to Allen this year. And, they're a team that's going to be a threat in the division. Wichita, they're playing well right now, but they've got a couple guys assigned to them by Toronto that we're hearing that might be leaving soon. So when those American Hockey League players go away, it might be a little bit of a different story for Wichita. But, Utah, they're always one of the top teams in the league, and definitely one of the top teams in the West. So I think it's always when we match up against these guys, it's like kind of a measuring stick and to see how we stack up against some of the best in the West. And they're a big, strong, physical team. They really are. They're one of those teams that over 60 minutes they're going to wear you down because they're going to hit you. That's what they like to do. They'll take I don't want to say cheap shots, but cheap shots. At your goalie. They took our goalie out the other night. You don't do that. I mean, if you're anybody who's watched a game of hockey knows you stay the hell away from the goalie. You don't get anywhere near, CJ Mott or Zach Sawchenko, or in this case, a Jake Patterson, who was taken out the other night. You stay away from the goalie, and they like to test our patience a little bit. So that'll be a lot of fun. I always love playing Utah because, like I said, they're one of the top teams in the league.
And then you've got some away games after that, and then you come back like mid part of February here, February 19th, against the Kansas City Mavericks, and then again on the 20th.
Yep, so, Kansas City in town. They're a team from the old Central Hockey League. Great to have them in the building. And February 19th, a bad day for me. Reminds me of my ex-wife's birthday. But you know what? We're excited to tangle with those Kansas City Mavericks. And by the way, their owner, Mr. Hunt, will be pretty much engaged with a football game this weekend, right? I mean, his Kansas City Chiefs. He owns both the Mavericks and the Chiefs. So, wow, he might be. You never know. He might show up here in Allen on the 19th with another new ring added to his collection.
Nice.
Very cool.
Now, there are two other things that I found on your website that I wanted to bring up because I knew you would be the guy that would know about these things. So the first one is about Biscuit, because everybody loves Biscuit the Bulldog. And I saw this, I think, on your social media where you can do a Biscuit gram around Valentine's, which I think is fantastic because everybody loves Biscuit.
Absolutely. And you know what? People still feel safe when a mascot shows up, right? So we've done this for a few years now where Biscuit will deliver you a special Valentine's Day package, and it's pretty simple. It's fun. Usually, obviously, it involves flowers and candy and that type of thing. But, I think a lot of people, feel distance, from the team this year. So, we've utilized Biscuit, the Ice Angels, myself, to get out in the community and just kind of spread that Allen Americans love. And one of the big things we do, is involve our mascot. When we first brought him on the scene in year 2, we didn't know how it was going to work. Mascots, some people hate mascots, some people love them. But I've never heard anybody say a bad word about Biscuit. Hey, it's Valentine's, right? I mean, who's gonna throw a mascot out of your business, right? I mean, if Biscuit shows in, you're gonna welcome him in.
Plus, you do that Biscuit gram. It looks like you get a couple of digital Americans game tickets there as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a great package put together, and obviously we're going to get it to you before Valentine's Day, so February 12th and 13th. So again, thank you for helping to promote that too.
And one last thing,
performing like a song or something, or how's that work
with Biscuit?
Yeah.
He doesn't sing very well.
Okay.
But you know what? We might get one of the Ice Angels along to sing a little Valentine's tune, I guess.
I don't know why that makes me giggle, but anyways.
Yeah, the old mascot. He doesn't ever say very much. I don't know.
Yeah.
He smiles a lot. Guy. Absolutely.
Now, this is something that I saw that was posted up this week that apparently just started this week. Your Adopt an American, which is a really cool program.
Yeah, it is. It gives, and the good thing is the event that you'll do with the player will be after the season, so you'll still be able to have that interaction once the games are all done. But it involves some autographed items, obviously, a personalized jersey, that type of thing. So, and, just that relationship with a player. It's always kind of a neat deal to say, hey, I'm sponsoring so-and-so this year. And getting that jersey at the end of the year and like a photo, opportunity, with the family, it's a great deal. And I know several people that have said, hey, I just love feeling like, I'm part of the team. And even, if it's going to a charity or what have you, people get into the fact that, they're so involved with this team. And you guys know this, you've been out here. When we have 3,000 people in the building, it sounds like 18,000. Mm-hmm. They're so invested in this team. They love the team. And a lot of it is because we've had success, right? I mean, people love a winner. we've won 4 championships in the 10 years. And I think that's been a lot of how we've built such a very strong fan base. And I've even had Stars fans and people from the Stars organization come down to a game and say, wow, you guys put on a great game presentation for the fact that you have 3,000 people in here, as loud as it gets, with the red. Yeah. And, of course, our drum group has been a part of things for a long time. And, the Ice Angels, who win awards every single year, and as one of you pointed out earlier, there's not a bad seat in the house. I mean, anywhere you sit, whether it's, in the top row, we're only one level here. So if you're at the top of 106 or on the glass, you're still having a great time.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, so if you want information about that, and if people want information about the COVID-19 precautions you guys are taking during the games, they can find that out on the website as well there, AllenAmericans.com. But if you want ticket info, you want home game schedule, again, they've got a game coming up tomorrow on the 3rd at 7:05 p.m. Tickets available for that, as well as the 5th, and again on the 9th and the 19th. And the 20th, all these different graphics I'm putting up here. And you want more information about the Biscuit Grams, you want information about the Adopt the American, because that's something that just started this week. And I guess the auction period it goes through an entire week, and then new players are up for adoption next week. Is that correct?
Yeah, it starts on Monday and closes out on Sunday. And it's like I said, we've had success with this here in the past. Mm-hmm. Fans love doing it. And we had several requests to do it, especially this year, because you can't get close to players, right? So This might be your only opportunity until the end of the season to have, even if it's a personalized video message from a player saying, hey, thanks to the Watson family, for adopting me this year. And there'll be a lot of special other things that come up that'll be involved with this as well. So if you do get involved, and I got throw this out here too, boys, I'm in this as well. So I'm sure that some family out there will feel sorry for me and want to adopt me. So let me see, I'll show you. This is my favorite. If you want to make me happy here, this Jolly Ranchers.
There you go.
That's all you need to buy me. Jolly Rancher bites, and I'll be completely happy. But no, in all seriousness, all the players, Steve Martinson, Biscuit, our former goaltender Riley Gill, and myself, all involved in this. And hopefully you'll be bidding.
Awesome. So get those tickets, be a part of that. My wife and I, we've been talking about that same thing that Alan was talking about. It's like, can we do something? Is there anything that we can do going out? I was like, well, as I was looking up the information about the Allen Americans to talk to you today, I was like, this might be a good option for us. We can go do that. They've got social distancing. They've got the distance there, a great game, because we love going to these hockey games. Seriously.
It is so much fun. God, so much fun.
Anytime, guys. And you know what? Anytime you're here, make sure you come by the broadcast suite so we can chat a little on the air too as well. Like I told you, Dave, you don't have to worry about climbing any stairs anymore to go up to the roof.
Thank you.
In a suite, and the suite is catered with food, so I'll entertain you and feed you as well.
I did that one time with you, Tommy. I did that one time with you. I was walking across the roof. I thought, there's no way this guy's up here. No way.
Believe it or not. Can I tell you one quick story before you let me go? Yeah. So this is God's honest, true story. Only what happened in minor league hockey. It is raining outside. And the broadcaster we used to have a team in the old Central League from Mississippi, and he was still broadcasting on radio. We were actually using the streaming service through you guys at the time.
Yeah.
And he came and said, I can't get a dial tone out here. What am I going to do? I'm going on the air in 20 minutes. And I said, we'll get this figured out. I said, we'll switch booths. He already had his stuff set up. I had mine. Literally 20 minutes before the game, in the rain, covered up, mind you, with a blanket. We are carrying our tables across the roof, one in one direction, one in the other. And he walked across the roof, moved his table into my booth where my phone line worked. I went across to his, and I never left. I stayed in that booth. I never went back to it. I used to be one on the front end, right when you go up on the roof. That's been the visiting side for a long time. I went to the one at the far end of the arena, and I never left. And we won 4 championships with me up there in that perch. And I thought, you know what? I'm not leaving now at this point. And it was all because the phone connection didn't work in the one booth. So he went into what was my booth, and I went into his, and the rest is history. So I don't think you're seeing Doc Emmerich carrying a table across any roof to go broadcast the game. I can guarantee you that.
That's funny.
Awesome. Well, Tommy, we appreciate it. Miss you. I think during this whole period, I think I ran into you one time at the grocery store, just a random meeting at the grocery store, but it's good seeing you again.
Hey, and I got to tell you how good you look, man. What have you been doing?
Not eating Jolly Ranchers.
Right. You know what? I'll tell you what. We're going to the trash right there. I'm done. I'm going to get on seriously, all serious. You look great. I don't know what you've been doing, but keep up the great work. Zach, always good seeing you, and my buddy Alan Fremont, man. We go way back. It's always good to see you.
Nice to see you too, Tommy. Thank you for joining us.
See you, Tommy.
Thank you, boys. Anytime. I appreciate it.
All right. So again, for ticket info, home game schedule, get those tickets, go to AllenAmericans.com. We appreciate Tommy and the rest of the Allen Americans for always supporting our radio stations. And we love having hockey here. Cause again, it's all about the fights. That's what we want. So check out that information there, AllenAmericans.com.